Today on a special edition of Al Dia, a border emergency. Thousands of Central American migrants arrive at the U.S.-Mexico border seeking asylum. But the Trump administration pledges not on our watch and sends more troops to the border.
In a couple of weeks, you're going to see a very secure border. You just watch. Just watch.
We have team coverage from Mexico as tension and protests quickly rise.
Plus, they risked their lives and fought for our country, but they were deported after they returned home.
Here we are, honorably discharged and dishonorably discarded.
Should there be a special pathway to citizenship for U.S. veterans? And a very candid interview with a smuggler with a clear message for President Trump.
Siempre hay maneras y uno siempre va a buscar maneras para llegar a este lado, a como dé lugar.
This is a special edition of Al Dia, a border emergency, reporting from the U.S.-Mexico border.
Welcome to the special English edition of Al Dia. I'm Regina Urrita.
And I'm Dominic Torres. Today we are reporting from the U.S.-Mexico border.
We begin with breaking news here in Tijuana. Nearly 8,000 migrants just arrived here, including thousands of women and their children. They set out on foot and risked their lives, traveling nearly 2,000 miles through treacherous terrains and risky neighborhoods. These migrants made the harrowing journey to escape poverty and gang violence. Their dream is to cross this border in hopes of attaining asylum. This will not be an easy process, and until then, migrants have been relocated to a sports arena that has been transformed into a shelter. Nearly 3,000 migrants are being held here already, with more on their way. Tijuana remains the last stop for these migrants, hoping to set foot in the U.S.
Meanwhile, over 40 migrants were arrested and deported at the border this past week. Chaos broke after a group of them made a dash and attempted to cross the border in plain sight. Seen here are migrants attempting to cross the border. Fences, street traffic, and guards were no match for this alarming attempt. Tear gas flew from the U.S. side of the border as Border Patrol agents struggled to control the migrants, including many women and children.
And residents here in Tijuana are not happy at all with the arrival of the migrants. Fuera hondureños, or get out of here Hondurans, is what many residents here chanted, clearly expressing their unwavering disdain for the recently arrived caravan of migrants. Tensions came to a boil last night just a few blocks from here when Tijuana residents confronted the migrants. While they are being housed here, migrants are receiving aid from the local government, but many residents here say the local authorities should be focused on helping Tijuana's own residents who are in need.
While with nowhere else to go, their destination turns into a nightmare. As migrants are stuck in Tijuana, they face a crisis.
That's right. Here they face a strained immigration system backed up by the flow of even more migrants arriving in recent months. We have team coverage about this crisis that has caused a border emergency. And we begin with our reporter, Jessica Cardenas, who spoke to several migrants traveling in the caravan moments after they arrived here. Jessica?
Thanks, Regina. After traveling the 2,500-mile journey north, the first caravan of Central American migrants have reached the U.S.-Mexico border in hopes of seeking asylum. But their destination turned into a nightmare as they face a crisis here in the city of Tijuana. This is their harrowing story.
They traveled the excruciating 2,500-mile journey north to the U.S.-Mexico border. Men, women, and children finding solidarity and strength in their numbers. A caravan of over 8,000 migrants in hopes of seeking asylum for the American dream. Their destination turned into a nightmare as thousands of migrants face a crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border. Arriving in Tijuana, a city already a host to thousands of asylum seekers waiting to cross legally into the U.S. Here, migrants have waited months in the hopes of getting across. Many staying in shelters like this one where we met a Central American woman fleeing persecution in her home country. We will call this woman Maria to protect her identity. Like many other migrants, her dreams were born of nightmares.
Cuando me vine para aquí ya no tenía opción de quedarme más allá. Una, ya no hay trabajo, y otra, tenía miedo por mi vida y la vida de mis hijos y de mi esposo también.
Maria is fleeing gang violence from the murder capital of the world, San Pedro Sula, Honduras.
Hoy ya estuviera muerta.
She fled after gang members murdered her younger sister who was pregnant.
Pues a ella la mataron. Y desde que a ella la mataron, ha sido una tragedia para nosotros, pues, porque él era la menor y nunca nos imaginamos que a ella le iba a pasar eso.
Her entire family threatened they would be next.
Hoy estuviera muerta, porque yo traigo unas pruebas de eso, de que cómo me llevaban amenazas a la casa.
This Central American migrant knows that feeling all too well. She left Honduras after she received death threats. She says she could never go back.
Se apoderaron los mareros, nos sacaron de la casa y nos dieron que saliéramos del país. Y la familia que mataron, la mía. Todo el sufrimiento que uno pasa y todo, y más en el camino.
Traveling in the caravan are also grandmothers fleeing to protect their loved ones.
La vida está bien difícil por el motivo de la gente mala. A la niña me la iban a violar de 3 años.
Like this grandmother, in a blink of an eye, Maria took everything she could and fled Honduras with her 2 children.
Yo lo primero que agarré fue una mochila con pampers que esta vez y solo eso agarré y me vine. Yo dejé todo botado, yo no traía ni ropa para mí, solo la que traía puesta.
She was part of the thousands of migrants who made their way north to the border by foot, but her children couldn't resist the harrowing journey.
Ya la niña me decía, ya no, se me tiró en el pavimento y me decía, ya no mami, ya no quiero caminar. Caminamos, ya vamos a llegar y faltaban como 30 kilómetros más.
Even after her daughter contracted a fever and her 1-year-old son caught pneumonia, they kept walking. While making the journey, children are the ones who suffer most.
Siempre es difícil, más andando con niños. Porque mire, se enferman, la niña la tuve bien enferma, andaba vomitando, con diarrea, calentura.
Migrants like Jose are fleeing poverty and dream of getting across.
No me quiero quedar aquí. Mi sueño es llegar allá y ayudar a mi familia.
For Maria, this is her only hope for now, while the waiting game for her chance to claim asylum continues at this shelter.
Primeramente Dios que me lo den porque si me regresan, yo como digo que solo a que me maten más.
Many other Central American women say there is no return to their home country.
Yo no puedo volver a El Salvador porque mi hijo corre peligro, tanto él como yo.
But asylum seekers face a strained immigration system, backlogged by the flow of migrant families arriving in recent months.
And here's the dilemma we're facing. Unfortunately, we have an immigration system that's not really adequately prepared to receive these people. And what I mean by that is the processing of large groups of people coming into the port of entry. The government can't handle that right now.
The odds for the caravan migrants to get across appear slim. Desperate migrants like Jesus are seeking options outside the U.S.
Era la puerta, la oportunidad a nosotros que tenemos familia, irnos para Canadá. Es necesario Estados Unidos. Sí, la verdad. Lo que necesitamos es darles un mejor futuro a nuestros hijos.
910. Since the arrival of the caravan, the waiting list for asylum seekers has grown to more than 5,000 names. But migrants like Maria would not give up hope to get across.
Ahora si me dan el asilo en Estados Unidos es otra vida que voy a tener, ya es una nueva etapa, no me tengo que acordar de todos los que dejé en mi país, de todo eso, porque yo a Honduras no puedo regresar, pero no pierdo las esperanzas que me van a dar el asilo.
We now go to my colleague Xochitl Lagunas with more.
This is Xochitl Lagunas reporting from the Juventud 2000 shelter in downtown Tijuana. This is just one of many shelters that is now working at maximum capacity to house the thousands of migrants who arrived here this week. Some migrants tell us they have been able to shower for the first time in weeks since they left their home countries and made the brave journey to the US-Mexico border by foot. Many migrants we met today say they fled, fearing for their lives.
En el 2008, mi hermano mayor lo mataron, porque igual él no se quiso meter a las pandillas y pues lo mataron. Por eso mismo yo pues digo, no puedo regresar.
Ana Gabriela Lopez lived fearing for her life for months before she decided to leave Honduras. The place she called home was no longer safe.
Me amenazó, le dijo a mis familiares que si yo regresaba, pues obligadamente él me iba a tener que meter, o si no, pues me iba a matar.
Like Ana Gabriela, some fled alone. Others fled with their entire families. Jose Guadalupe is one of them. He fled with his wife and 3 children, hoping they would receive asylum in the U.S. They were fed up with corrupted officials back home.
Donde nosotros somos, ya tenemos más miedo al policía que al ratero. El ratero sabe uno que lo va uno a robar sus cosas, pero el policía no sabe, te lleva, no sabe ni qué te va a hacer. Eso es lo que no... Pura corrupción ya, todos están con el crimen.
Jose Maria Garcia Lara has managed this shelter the past 26 years. With the shelter at capacity, he fears he would have to turn away other migrants who arrive as part of a different caravan.
Los espacios de casi la gran mayoría de albergues, incluyendo el Juventud 2000, están llenos. Si vienen unos 2,000, 3,000 o 4,000 personas que vengan y alcancen a llegar a la frontera norte de Baja California o en Tijuana, sería todo un problema real para poderlos atender, porque yo aquí en este albergue, ¿a cuántos atendería yo? Atendería a unos 30 personas más.
So as the wait continues and their cases remain in limbo, hundreds of families remain here, huddled up together in these tents of hope. These are the lucky migrants who at least have a temporary home for now. This is Xochitl Lagunas reporting from Tijuana, Mexico.
Thank you to both Jessica and Xochitl for their reports.
You know, this is a striking step that these people must take. President Trump actually called it a national emergency.
Regina, it's interesting you say that because the number of Mexican immigrants living in the United States illegally has actually declined in the past decade.
Yeah, more than 200,000 Mexicans were deported in 2016. And with the caravan making its way to the border, those numbers are sure to rise.
We have to take a break, but when we come back...
Central Americans aren't the only migrants seeking asylum. A Haitian crisis has also unfolded at the border.
Me da mucho miedo.
Is Tijuana the new waiting room for all asylum seekers?
Plus, I take you on a journey through the effects of family separation caused by the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy. This tougher legislation was used to deter illegal immigration and caused many to be separated from their loved ones.
Then, a drug smuggler's message directed at President Trump.
Siempre va a ser familia, el amor de la familia siempre va a ser mucho más grande que una pared.
More to come. Welcome back. Long before La Caravana arrived here, a large group of Haitian migrants also arrived. They fled Haiti after an earthquake decimated their homes. Our reporter Tanya speaks to them about their newfound home here in Mexico.
Migrants abandon their home countries for many reasons.
A mí me da mucho miedo también, pero yo no tengo otra cosa que hacer. Tengo que refugiar para otro país.
Traveling by any means in search of a better future, many go as far as risking their own lives. The city of Tijuana holds some of the largest transitory populations of migrants that are seeking a future in the U.S. In 2016, over 17,000 Haitians reached the city of Tijuana after fleeing the continuous devastation in Haiti.
Así no hay trabajo, entonces nosotros tenemos que ir para Venezuela para poder trabajar para ayudar a su familia. Bueno, a mí me siento muy mal por eso, porque los niños estaban sufriendo mucho. En la selva yo tenía fiebre y picazón, los animales están picando a ellos, porque hay muchas personas que pasaron en la selva, las violaron las mujeres, lo mataron también para poder agarrar el teléfono o celular, todas esas cosas. Me da mucho miedo.
Joveline is just one of the many Haitian migrants that made the long journey to Tijuana and arrived to what is now known as Little Haiti.
This is the city outside of Haiti that contains the most Haitians in the world, and this is where many Haitians have made their new home.
Es un santuario para ellos y saben que ellos van a llegar, van a estar muy bien aquí, y los que decidan irse se van a ir y los que no, pues estamos construyendo algo para que ellos vivan aquí.
This community founded by Pastor Banda has been in the works for the last 2.5 years and is a labor of love he works on with his bare hands and sweat. After a long journey, this community becomes a home for
Nació en Haití
Después de Venezuela, se fue para Colombia. De Colombia, pasa para Panamá, de Panamá, Costa Rica, de Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, está aquí en México. No hay trabajo en Haití.
Lack of work, poverty, violence, and crime pushes families to look for a new home in a different country.
Mira, hay dos tipos de personas. El que quiere el sueño americano y el que sabe que no es tan fácil como ellos piensan, y por recomendaciones de sus mismas familias que viven en Estados Unidos que le dicen, ya no lo intenten, quédense mejor aquí en México. Muchos de ellos han prosperado. Tenemos algo muy bueno a nuestro favor. Después de 2 años y medio, no se tiene un solo delito cometido por ellos después de 2 años y medio.
But as the immigration laws in the U.S. are constantly changing, receiving asylum status is not an easy process.
Asylum laws have become much stricter and much harsher in terms of the definition of what's persecution and what will fall under the guise of asylum. So with the current administration that you mentioned, his Attorney General has taken it upon himself to redefine some of what makes asylum and set forth what he believes or what they believe should qualify somebody to seek asylum. And so along with that, they've really narrowed the definition and really kind of closed the door on a lot of people.
While some are granted U.S. asylum, others settle and start a new life.
Sigue servicio aquí, creo que voy a quedar aquí. Si nosotros conseguimos trabajo, puede alquilar una casa o un cuarto así para poder vivir.
Nuestro próximo proyecto, pensamos hacer una escuela para los niños, necesitamos hacer un hospital, pensamos hacer talleres comunitarios para todo el que vaya llegando y que también vive en esta zona, podamos capacitar y que puedan encontrar trabajo como les hemos conseguido. Yo quiero todo este cañón transformado y convertido en un cañón completamente para refugiados.
As new refugees continue to arrive, this once transient city has proven to become a new beginning.
Thank you, Tanya. President Trump continues to push for a border wall, even calling the recent wave of immigration a national emergency. He has sent over 5,000 troops to the border amid the arrival of migrants from Central America.
And in that caravan, you have some very bad people.
The National Guard will be deployed here until mid-December, leaving troops at the border even during the holidays. The Trump administration maintains that a wall will stop the flow of drugs and illegal immigration. But will it be enough?
Now think of it. Walls work, folks.
We spoke to a smuggler who told us the ins and outs of his dangerous but lucrative operation. The smuggler's message to President Trump is very clear. He says no wall will stop the flow of drugs coming their way north.
Porque siempre hay maneras y uno siempre va a buscar maneras para llegar a este lado, a como dé lugar. En este negocio hay un montón de gente involucrada. Este negocio es de puros contactos que ni tú conoces a veces. No, yo no cruzo a la gente. Tengo contactos en México y en este lado. Yo tengo choferes aquí y por mis contactos en México también hay choferes. Para mí esto no es malo porque yo estoy... Si ustedes mirarían las reacciones de los familiares cuando los entregan, la familia siempre va a ser familia, el amor de la familia siempre va a ser mucho más grande que una pared, mucho más grande.
The Trump administration has faced backlash for using family separation as an immigration deterrent. I now take you to El Parque de Amistades, where the consequences of family separation are very real.
Forced to be huddled together and wrapped in Mayolar blankets while held in a cage-like fencing. This is the reality of migrant children all across the country. Some lay detained with their mothers, while others suffer without them. Those who go through it all without their parents are forced to feel the pain of abandonment. This is Sydney Flores, a woman from Honduras who has reunited with her daughter after immigration officials kept them apart for a month.
Just one story of many. Of thousands, perhaps.
For Ricardo Avilas, he set off on a journey through the border state park between San Diego and Tijuana to visit his daughter. He's traveled from Washington hoping to hug her, but won't be allowed to.
Con un gran nudo en la garganta y venía pensando cómo controlarlo porque es bien difícil.
Avilas has had to settle for the touch of their fingertips through a double meshed fence.
Estar cerca y que solamente un metal lo separe a uno es bastante difícil. Y yo dije, si yo me pongo a llorar, pues mi hija es bien sentimental, se va a poner a llorar. Y no quiero que llorar, pero siempre tuve que llorar. Pero sí, aún estoy con el nudo en la garganta. Es bastante difícil.
He chose to leave her behind as he crossed the states to give her a better life on the northern side of the border.
Centroamericanos lo hacemos por sacar adelante a nuestros hijos. Siempre, yo venía por 5 años y yo ya tengo 18 años aquí.
The Trump administration had been separating families to deter immigration. I'm here standing in front of Friendship Park, where this store opens to thousands of families who are able to touch but are unable to go home to their loved ones.
Friendship Park has opened the doors for millions of these families who have been separated, but not everyone has the opportunity to visit.
Didn't really think it was going to be hard, but then we were separated.
At the ripe age of 6, Gemma Navarro was forced to show strength for her youngest brother after her mother was deported to Michoacan, Mexico.
He had been deported in the past twice, and so they told her, you know, if you come anywhere near here, you're going to go to prison again. So she had to go back.
A deportation that caused her relationship between her mother to fall apart. Now the only contact she makes with her is through rare Facebook messages.
A lot of mixed feelings, because it's like, it's weird being in the foster care system because you don't see your mom much, but then it's like if she's deported again, if she's deported from here, you're not going to see her at all. So I didn't really know what was going to happen. I was confused.
Now at 15 years old, she understands how difficult it is for her mother to cross the border illegally, especially now as the president has been prosecuting as many border crossing offenses as possible and announced the zero tolerance policy.
Somebody commits a crime in the U.S. and you're with somebody that's your child or someone's underage, unfortunately you do not get to bring that person with you through your incarceration process. That person, if it is a juvenile, you will be separated from that person if you are arrested by a law enforcement officer. So these are decisions that are made by the parents and the accompanying adults of these juveniles. It's not a decision we're making. We just have to do our job in a way that's safe for the children and safe to house the folks that are being detained.
Navarro's parents were separated from her and deported from the States due to multiple convictions that she did not want to state. But even so, she still feels the emptiness without the presence of her parents and wishes there was a way to see them. Friendship Park is one of those places where parents are allowed to reunite with families who have been separated, even if it's just for a few hours.
You go and it's like you're all day at the river, you're with your friends, or you're all day at night at the river because it's like a hangout spot. So yeah, I guess kind of the freedom that you had.
Young adults suffer with the absence of their parents, but in her case, she is thankful to have a home.
A pretty permanent place, at least until I turn 18. A lot of kids, when they don't have a permanent place, they often go to shelters, they go to group homes, sometimes even to juvie. And that's not somewhere you want to be. So the finding a place kind of is what I'm grateful for, because otherwise I would have been like the other kids. And since I'm older, not a lot of people want older girls or older people, so it's like...
Navarro is now at the point of her life where every dream is important, but her most important one is to someday reunite with her mother.
You know, the president's order for no more family separation has ended, and families continue to be ripped apart. What do you think, Dom?
Regina, Ricardo's story really points out the reality of a father whose daughter is close enough to see, but not to touch.
Yeah, exactly. Ricardo's story is one of many who have suffered with the struggles to reunite after being split up due to policy.
But migrant families aren't the only ones being separated at the border. Coming up, how some of America's bravest are being dishonorably discharged and deported.
Plus, child sex trafficking goes high-tech, how one area shelter is trying to halt sexual tourism and protect those who are most vulnerable.
Me prostituyó, él consiguió las personas.
All this coming up.
Thanks for still being with us. A prime example of love for a country are the men and women who risk their lives to defend it.
I wish I could rewind and forget the U.S.
The Army has a leave no one behind policy, but in this case they weren't left behind. They were forcibly removed. Our reporter Viviana Borruel shares her story.
Behind me is a U.S. border wall, and just a few feet away are countless patriotic veterans who have been denied the right to live on American soil.
If I could explain it in one way, it's like getting punched in the face, slapped in the face, and kicked in the nuts at the same time.
These are the raw emotions of a veteran who now has to speak through a metal fence in Tijuana, with his only form of contact being pinky links with those in the U.S. Serving the nation from 1982 to 1988, Lopez would have never imagined he'd find himself kicked out of the country because of his immigration status.
You know what? Nobody ever told me if I was an immigrant. In the battlefield, nobody cares if you're an immigrant. Nobody cares. Why? Because your life's on the line. Whether an immigrant kills somebody that's trying to kill me or an American citizen does, it to me is the same. You saved me, thank you. We're pushing through, we're hanging on, and we're surviving because I want to go home.
But he is not allowed to go home. The country that Hector once called home is no longer his country, and not by choice. Veterans like Hector Lopez were willing to die for the United States, but they were deported, marginalized, and forgotten. Now the only way back into the country that they fought for is in a coffin. On the outskirts of Tijuana, just a few feet from the border, is a support center led by Lopez, which provides legal, mental, and emotional support for vets going through the same nightmare. Alex Murillo, a father torn from his 4 children, knows about the irony of deportation all too well.
Once we die, our remains are carried back to the U.S. and we're buried in a military cemetery with honors. A folded flag is given to our family, and then we're deemed good enough to be on or in American soil. And that's just sad. How is that honoring the soldier? How is that honoring the veteran? How is that honoring our lives and our sacrifice? It's not.
Veteran Luis Vargas recalls vividly the day he was deported through these gates 4 years ago and can't help but choke up every time he tells his story.
There they are. You're in Mexico now. It's the Mexican authority, and they're saying, bienvenidos, and actually give you a hug. I'm able to see how they treated me, the country the only country I have ever known, that I've been pledging allegiance to ever since kindergarten. The way they kicked us out, and the way the country that I never got to know, or I'm still now knowing the love that they showed. That's why I'm tearing up, because it just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem fair. I mean, here we are, honorably discharged and dishonorably discarded.
Sharing the sentiment and having trouble coping with his new reality, Felipe, like many others, often wonders if his sacrifice was worth it.
Oh man, you get all this hatred. You feel like you were used, and they just throw you like that. And I don't try to think about it. I just stay busy, and I still go jogging and listen to music. But I don't really. The more I think about it, the bigger stomachache I get.
Would you serve again in the U.S. military?
I would not. I wish I could rewind and forget the U.S.
Like Felipe, those who find themselves deported to a country they are not familiarized with can experience severe issues like mental health problems. Robert Vivar, co-director of the center, shares that the only thing they can do is hold people's hands through the tough situation.
When he got here, he started suffering and going through the struggle of suffering with his PTSD. And some of that struggle was manifested in suicidal language.
According to the VA, 20 veterans commit suicide every single day, raising concerns for people like Vivar, who witness struggling veterans firsthand in Tijuana, where their medical benefits are cut off.
It's very concerning, it's very stressful because you feel powerless.
And while the process of being stripped away from the land they fought for may have left these veterans feeling powerless, some feel that deportation may be the ultimate price to pay for their own actions and mistakes.
If they've made mistakes, that's unfortunate. If it depends on what they've done, they might have made a poor decision after they served. That's why they're deported.
What the veterans say they want most is for the people in the U.S. to wake up to what has been going on for years. For now, they will continue fighting to get back home in a struggle that seems to be the battle of a lifetime.
Recognize us. You can you can measure us, poke and prod us. It's been done before to us in the military. So, and at the end of the day, you're gonna find that we're nothing if not American. We're out here fighting to get back home. We are your U.S. soldiers. We are your U.S. veterans, and we fought, and we're willing to die for you. So we would appreciate a little bit of help out here. We could definitely use it.
Reporting from Tijuana, Baja California, Viviana Borroy.
Thank you, Viviana. I now take you inside La Casa del Jardín, a refuge for child victims of human trafficking, sexual abuse, and child pornography. Some of these children were tricked and hunted down on social networks. Others were actually sold by their own parents. Here, these children are finding something that they've never found before, a family to call their own.
Traditionally, sex trafficking tends to happen on the front lines of the red light district in Tijuana. But in the past decade, the use of the internet has made children in Mexico more susceptible to exploitation.
Bueno, pues es que yo había conocido una persona por Facebook y esa persona me trató muy bien, me hablaba muy bonito y pues llegó el momento en el cual se podría decir, según me enamoré de él.
It's definitely more frequently now than they use internet, they use the more popular social media to engage vulnerable people. In that way, they don't identify where that predator is.
Alma Tucker works with local officials on both sides of the border to rescue children who have become victims of sexual abuse, pornography, sex trafficking, and human trafficking.
Quiso ver así hacer más cosas como con más personas y al final lo logró. Hicimos, bueno, 2 veces tríos y después fue así me empezó a meter en todo eso. Después dijo, me dio a entender de que quería dinero y así, y el caso es que me prostituyó, él consiguió las personas y ellos iban a mi casa.
La Casa del Jardín, or the Garden House, was the first shelter in Tijuana to provide services for survivors like Alice.
We model it as truly a home and family for these kids. I like to say that I'm proud to be like their older brother, and my parents are like their parents. A lot of them unfortunately were in cases where their parents were the ones that sold them into slavery.
El abuso hacia mí empezó cuando tenía como 4 años. Mi papá es una persona alcohólica, entonces él también empezó de alguna manera a abusar de mí. Pues supuse que era algo normal y aparte pues venía una persona que amaba mucho, que era mi papá, o sea, no pensé que él me quisiera hacer algún daño, pensé que era mi culpa, que yo había...
Child sex tourism remains a problem and continues to affect survivors like Lucy, who found it hard to escape.
Sex trafficking is San Diego's second largest underground economy. The San Isidro port of entry is one way that exploiters traffic victims across borders.
No esperen al momento en cuando ya se sientan ahogadas, donde ya no piensan que pueden morir.
It is that drowning feeling that the Garden House is trying to replace with a family.
It's truly a place for these kids to identify as a home for them, to identify a family for them, which is really important, and to be surrounded by people who love them, who care about them, and every single day we're working to empower them and give them as many opportunities as we possibly can.
It is days like these that build trust for the survivors.
Basically, today I brought a group of friends down like I do on a lot of Saturdays, and just to spend time with them. The fact that these people have taken the time out of their day to come spend it with them and just play with them and be here with them is always what means the most to them.
Volunteers like Marshall Gillen give a sense of hope to the children at the Garden House. But it is also days like these that impact everyone.
I came there that day with one of the worst business days of my life, and only a few hours later I was pushing a kid on a swing. And as these little boys were just squealing with joy, I just took a minute and I thought back to 10-year-old me, and I was like, I would have given anything for a male figure just to show up and just push me on the swing. And it was in that moment, the sun was on my face, the wind was blowing across, and I just thought, wow, how dare me? How dare I worry about a cease and desist order when I have the ability to come down here and trade time and energy like I had always wanted and needed as a kid?
Sometimes they question how they care for me when my own family didn't care for me.
Me di cuenta y con psicología me di cuenta que la verdad fui una víctima, que lo que me pasó
no era de acuerdo a mi edad que...
Ahora ya no es difícil vivir, vivo confiada, sé que hay gente que me quiere mucho, que me ama, que tengo una gran familia, que en su momento solo pensé que tenía a una persona. Pero Dios me ha regalado una gran familia.
Coming up.
Tijuana is reinventing itself with a trendy new scene. But will it be enough to lure tourists south of the border?
We'll also give you a look into Tijuana's traditional handmade crafts and its popular attraction in America. Some say they travel here just to get a piece of Latino culture. After a decrease in tourism due to the rise of drug and cartel violence, stricter border surveillance is allowing for Tijuana to reinvent itself. Tijuas, as the locals call it, is now becoming Mexico's hotspot for American tourists to enjoy cheap pleasures, but now in a chic way.
Avenida Revolucion has transformed from a place that tourists would normally not visit to now the ultimate destination for food, drinks, and entertainment. With its unique aesthetic and coffee beverages, Coffee Container Co. has contributed to Tijuana's tourism growth.
Que la revolución no es lo mismo que hace 25 años, no es lo mismo que hace 15 años. ¿Qué pasa? Hubo una mala rachita en Tijuana, con problemas X y Y, deja de venir turismo. ¿Y qué sucede? Entra una generación nueva de emprendedores, con gente que tiene ideas, con gente que tiene el capital para invertir en las ideas de los jóvenes o de las personas ya grandes que tienen esa visión. Y entonces Tijuana empieza a crecer culturalmente, empieza a crecer gastronómicamente, y cuando estoy hablando de gastronomía no es nada más comida, sino también bebidas en cervezas y pues en lo que es esto que es el café.
¿Y qué es lo que lleva el café?
Este café puede llevar jarabe o simplemente puede llevar las 2 onzas de café. Siempre lo que resta es leche.
If that steaming cup of coffee didn't make you want to travel to Tijuana, wait until you see this fusion. Cine Tonala is Tijuana's first 3-floor art house movie theater. It offers cocktails with a view, and after you can even head downstairs to catch a movie.
Convertido como el lugar de moda, el lugar turístico. Por las noches ves hordas y hordas de gente caminando, dando vueltas, haciendo todos el hopping bar. Realmente no es que la gente se quede estacionada en un solo sitio, sino van, conocen, vienen aquí con nosotros, se toman la foto en la terraza y van de bar en bar. Pues la gente siempre le sorprende este concepto de tener un cine con una propuesta independiente, una propuesta cultural, y también la mixología que tenemos aquí, mixología de autor, la comida que a la gente le encanta, esta mezcla, ¿no? de comida de mariscos, comida, bueno, tenemos pizzas, tenemos hamburguesas, pero sobre todo la vista, ¿no? La gente viene, sube a la terraza y es como una vista a toda la Avenida Revolución.
And if the cocktails and that breathtaking view weren't enough, you can walk across the street to Torema, a craft beer tasting room for more pours.
Es muy importante, especialmente si estamos ubicados en la Revolución, porque es la avenida más famosa de Tijuana, básicamente. Todo el tiempo está lleno de turistas. Por ejemplo, ahorita que es sábado, los fines de semana nos llegan muchos americanos, hasta a veces europeos, que vienen a conocer lo que es Tijuana y ven aquí una cervecería artesanal y dicen, oh, craft beer, vamos a probarla, y se meten y quedan encantados de la vida.
Are you still debating on why you should visit Tijuana? Tijuana is said to be a food lover's paradise and your wallet's best friend.
I think the food is definitely the obvious, not to sound cliche, but everyone says the food here is amazing, and it is. So
Showing the Caesar salad.
Yeah, we're gonna get the OG Caesar salad. Yeah, this is the second time I've been here, but we're here to DJ, and so the nightlife here is really great. It's really fun.
Yeah, also San Diego's kind of like boring and like sterile, and it's like there's more like going on here, more culture, more atmosphere, and drinks are cheaper.
Pues hay muchos más bares que en mi ciudad aquí y mejores DJs y cerveza, más gente. This is Marisela Perez reporting for Al Día. Thank you, Marisela.
A family-owned store shaped by the traditional culture of Mexico has allowed one establishment to flourish among tourists on both sides of the border. Here's Rita Laval with the story.
Here, in el Mercado de Artesanías is home to many businesses that specialize in the art that represents the culture of Mexico. One such shop has been here for over 25 years. Let's listen to their story.
Mi nombre es María de Jesús Telis. Nosotros aquí en este negocio tenemos 20 años. 20 años, es un negocio familiar. Entonces lo fundamos mi esposo y yo. ¿Verdad? Ahora pues mi esposo ya no está con nosotros. Entonces ahora es nada más de mis hijos.
When Maria and her husband first started, they had small terracotta pieces and a selection of talavera. As time passed, they started becoming more business savvy with their products.
Entre más tiempo pasado hemos sabido seleccionar más la mercancía, entonces ahora traemos cosas más artesanales, más trabajadas, de diferentes estados. Entonces ahorita lo que nuestro fuerte pudiese decir una parte es lo que es talavera.
As of right now, Maria is getting merchandise from places like Guanajuato that are specializing in unique pieces of handmade metal work that is in high demand.
Entonces, esto ha sido un éxito, todo este tipo de mercancía que viene siendo las estrellas, los espejos y muchas cosas artesanales.
It's artisan pieces like these that have people flocking to Ramirez Curios.
My name is Brian Brown. I'm a business owner from a little place in the Mojave Desert called Tecopa Hot Springs. I have a small farm, I grow dates, and I have a gift shop and bakery. So we come up here 3 or 4 times a year to buy stuff to stock in our gift shop. Well, the beauty of it, I mean, in the winter months in the desert, we get a lot of snowbirds, people that come from western Canada and the cold northern states. They don't see this stuff at all in Wyoming or North Dakota or Vancouver or places like that. So we have this specific group of people that come for whom seeing this is a big treat.
Michael Ramirez, son of Maria, is in charge of finances and logistics.
My dad started this probably 56 years ago. He was a salesman in a known place over here in Tijuana in Revolution Street. And after many years and when the economy was really down, he started this business. Our last inventory that we did in 2017, December 2017, we had a value market of goods around $80,000. We're in the wholesale business, so most of the times we do really quick turnarounds. So we might be investing $10,000 today, and by 3 or 4 days later, we won't have any stock. If you want to export some goods to the United States, you have to pay duties. There are taxes in the import-export field, you may say so. Most of the companies or most of the countries, they charge duties in the imports or exports, try to compensate for the damage that kind of merchandise may do to their own countries or their own industries. So they put some duties in order to make it more even, the gain of trying to sell and buy merchandise.
So I hope the next time that you come to TJ, you can really admire this artisan beauty and come stop by at Ramirez Curios. This is Rita Laval reporting for Al Día.
This concludes our special English edition of Al Día. As we say goodbye today, more migrants are on their way here to a city that is already overwhelmed and on the brink of chaos. There are certainly no answers or solutions.
That's right, Regina. And as we've seen, we are dealing with an immigration system that is slow and severely backlogged. What we do know is that this may very well be their last stop.
Remember, you can be part of the conversation by following all our social media platforms like @Aldia CSUF. I'm Regina Urrita.
And I'm Dominic Torres, reporting from the U.S.-Mexico border. Goodbye.
Al Día es patrocinado por Univision Communications, Southwest Airlines y Casanova McCann.